Before I start giving you the secrets behind what we did at the Funke Media Group, and Catherine will give you a lot of more insights after me, I would like you to do this little voting thing here. While I start talking, you can just either go to menti.com and then you enter the code 1831687, or you just take your mobile phone and use this little picture here so you get there automatically. And then I would love you to answer the question, what should definitely not be missing in a newsletter? And I hope for some insights from you guys, because all of you should be profis on that and professionals on that. And so I hope you have some great ideas what in your experience, what should be in a newsletter. So let's see what we get in here. I hear some big typing. And I hope there are already results coming in. Not too many. You can do better. Okay, let's just do this for the moment. I just go on and we look at this at the end again and see if there came in some more results. So what did we do at the Funke Media Group to achieve the goal of a 5-fold newsletter subscribers? I would like to talk you through why we focus on newsletters in the beginning, because it's up to Dan Oshinsky actually, and how we organized the newsletter unit at Funke Media House, and what was our strategy and our goals, and what are the production areas that we worked at. And of course, all of you want to know, did we achieve our goal? Just for a little spoiler ahead, no, not all of them. And then I have some write-up newsletter in a nutshell. So why did we focus on newsletter? Actually, when we started looking at newsletters, we started with really small numbers. And it was in May 2019, I joined the Facebook Accelerator, and Dan Oshinsky was one of the guys who was talking about newsletters there. And he was standing there and he said, email is one of the biggest opportunities in the digital space, and most people are not talking about it. And I was sitting in the audience and I sent an email to our teams at Funke and I asked, how many subscribers do we have in newsletters, by the way? And I found out with 5 major local brands, or all in 12 major local brands in the German area, we had 25,000 newsletter subscribers, which is not a lot. And a little on later, I was able to listen to George Brock, and he said, look at Washington Post. Jeff Bezos takes over, nothing happens for 2 years. Then they start email newsletters and the graph takes off. So I kind of was on fire. I came back from this Facebook Accelerator to Funke, and in the next board meeting, I talked to them about newsletters, and I was a little bit better prepared by then. And I told our board, look at those numbers. And so what we saw was 1 million page views from 18 newsletters with Clarin, and Seattle Times, who said that newsletter subscribers convert at a 25 times higher probability to paying customers. And we saw Condé Nast, who said they had a data team and they looked at the indicators. What is an indicator for willingness to pay for content? And newsletter subscription was the #1 indicator for them. And then we looked at the New York Times, and they said they had 14 million newsletter subscribers at that time in relation to 2.9 million digital subscribers. So we kind of got an idea that 25,000 is not enough. And what helped me in the long run the most was USA Today, because they told us there's an average of 3 to 4 months between newsletter registration and subscription. And that was very important, because when we started it in the first 3, 4, 5 months, nothing happened. And after a few months, people start asking you, why are you doing this? And I always pointed to this number and told everyone, give me some time. So after I convinced the board, we set up a newsletter unit, an own unit. And as I told you before, we had a lot of brands at Funke Media. So we had to set up a centralized newsletter units so that we could help all the brands to start the newsletter ideas. And actually we hired a marketing manager. We also hired an editorial colleague, and we asked our digital internal unit, which is called Funke Digital, Funke Digital, and they gave us, or they provided us one colleague who was setting up all the newsletter and helping with the technical stuff. And we also put a project lead on that project. And of course, I was also investing in that project. So all in all, 5 people were working on this project. And we realized that we really needed this interdisciplinary team because we needed marketing guys, we needed editorial knowledge, and we needed product management. But it also meant that we had a lot of interfaces. So because we needed to talk to all our brands, we wanted to talk to Berliner Morgenpost, Braunschweiger Zeitung, Hamburger Abendblatt, to all the publishers, all the brands from North Rhine-Westphalia and all the brands from Thuringia. And we also wanted to talk to our sales team, to our data team. So in the beginning, we just started setting up a meeting structure and a communication structure. We started setting up dashboards. We started a format which we called newsletter. It's internally, it's a newsletter that we send internally to our colleagues, telling everyone what we did in the last 2 weeks and who was working with the newsletters and which one was the best newsletter in the last 2 weeks and what is a new concept that we realized and what was changed in the tools. So stuff like that. The newsletter is quite important for us. And so we were responsible for product management, marketing, and editorial concepts, but we never did it on our own. That was the most important part of it, because we just can't send out a newsletter as a centralized unit. We need to, or we want our editorial teams to do it by themselves. So I want the Berliner Morgenpost to send it out, and I want to support them. So if they have an idea for an editorial format, I want to help them with the concept, and we want to spend some marketing budget to make the new format known. But it was always about giving the responsibility to the editorial teams, but support them with everything we could. Regarding our strategy, we set up this funnel in the beginning, and as we came from almost nothing or not a lot, we said, well, the first thing is we need to get new leads, we need to get new subscribers. So lead management was a high priority in the beginning of 2020. But we also said, let's have a look at the open rate. Let's always make sure that people really open our newsletters, because it's easy just to buy it cheap, but it doesn't help us in the long run. We also want them to read through and to click on the teasers and on the newsletters and to get to our website so they see the subscription offers. And that's the next step. We would like to have a look at the conversion rate, and we would like to look at the return on investment. And honestly, in the first 6 months, we only looked at lead management and open rate. It was just too much. There was so much to do. And so we completely focused on lead management and open rate, and we kind of ignored the conversion rate. And that was okay, but after 6 months, people started asking us, and that was the moment we started doing analysis, and we found some amazing results. And talking about it now, I realized, or I knew that then, we should have started earlier with the conversion rate and the return on investment, but it just was not possible. So next time I would do it the same way again. But if some of you have some more resources, look at the conversion rates early in the process. When we started working, we realized that we were always talking about getting new customers or new subscribers in the funnel, and we didn't want to do that. So we decided we would go with the customer lifecycle. So all the tasks we were doing, we were always putting them in these columns, and we were always trying to work on all those columns. So we thought about how can we target new groups, how can we generate new leads. If we have a new subscriber, how can we activate him? How can we get him to keep reading and to keep opening it and get adapted, habit forming, get adapted to this newsletter? And then how can we use one newsletter to upsell another newsletter? What can we do if we already know there's one successful format? Can we use it for others? And if we have all the subscribers on board, how can we keep them? How can we make them loyal? And of course, after that, how can we get them to convert into paying customers? And how, if they churn, if they decide not to read the newsletter any longer, can we recover them? So we did a lot of Trello boards, and we were always working along those lines. And then at the end of 2019, when we started all of this, we came up with our goals, and they were, honestly, they were quite crazy goals. Because at the end of, we started thinking about it at 25,000. At the end of 2019, we set up the team and we set up the dashboards, and then we set our goals for 2020. And at the end of 2019, we were at 56,000 newsletter subscribers, and we decided we want to go for 250,000 subscribers within a year. I remember my boss looking at me and thinking I was crazy, and he said later so that he really thought I was crazy, but we thought we have to go for a North Star, because people always have to be ambitious and want to reach the North Star. So we just decided, let's take a big star. And we also decided that we would like to be better in the open rate. By then, our average was 41%. And we thought, well, let's try if we get the average up to 50%. So these were the areas we were working in. So our product management, they did a lot about communication, setting up roundtables with all the brands, setting up operational job fixes with each location, setting up a tech job fix, writing the internal newsletter. Also, we worked on the workflows for the collaboration between editorial teams, sales, tech, distribution, and the newsletter unit. And we did a lot on project management with tool support, for example, and the training, and the data protection was a big issue. It still is. And analysis, on-site touch points, welcome routes, product management, mobile, AMP. We realized after some times that AMP forms did not work, which was a major drawback. So we realized we have to work on mobile and AMP. Pay data integration, security certificates, banner integration, surveys. And I'm not going to talk about surveys a lot, but Catherine will follow up on that. Marketing, since we got our marketing on board, they started doing marketing planning, projects and campaigns, lead ads, checkout campaigns, print. We tried print, did not work. Device break is too big. Analysis and reporting. And editorial-wise, we started setting up an editorial plan for the year. We started doing new formats, optimizing existing formats, doing the production of some of those newsletters if we could support our editorial teams with that, and setting up a review culture, asking editors to make an open review of other newsletters so they can talk about it and learn from each other. So what happened? We reached a lot of milestones, and we started in Q1 with the basics, like tool standardization. We had 12 internal newsletter tools before, so we had to get everything to one newsletter tool. We started the marketing, and then Corona hit, and we set up all the Corona newsletters for all our brands. And it was amazing. People were really so interested in those Corona newsletters. So alone Corona newsletter, we got 63,000 Corona newsletter subscribers within 6 weeks. It was really amazing. And then, of course, we looked into scaling, into the traffic. We looked into the potential, how many newsletter subscribers do not have a paid content subscription, and how can we approach those? And then our editor came on board, and she started doing an editorial plan for the rest of the year. We started looking into mobile. We started looking into conversions. How do they convert from newsletter to paid content? We started looking into the newsletter journey. So we set up welcome mails. We decided that we would send out, after some time, another emailing saying, hey, you're a subscriber of our free of cost newsletters, but did you know that if you're a paid content subscriber, you get all those great things? Then Corona hit again. So we reactivated all our Corona newsletters and campaigns. And then we did the first survey with the help of Catherine. She will talk about this a little later on. And in the end, we started looking into retention. What about our newsletter subscribers who have, our paid content subscribers who have a newsletter versus the paid content subscribers who don't have a newsletter? I will show you the results in a second. So this was one of the goals that we actually reached. We really came to 250,000. I did not see that coming. And actually it was some luck in there, which was in the end, not luck, but it helped us with the newsletters. So the first one was, of course, Corona. As I told you, 63,000 with Corona only in March and April. The other one, Funke Media Group, was hacked in December 20. And our brands in North Rhine-Westphalia, they had a great idea when we couldn't deliver the print newsletter, the printed newspaper anymore. They published messages on the website that there are free of charge newsletters, and that all the articles are in this newsletter. And as we put down the paywall for some time when we were hacked, all the articles were in the newsletters free of charge without a paywall. And that gave us another big push. So we didn't see that two pushes coming in, of course. So in the end, we reached our North Star, and we were laughing a lot when we reached it. We didn't see it coming. We came up with, at the end, we stood at 254,000 newsletter subscribers for 2020. The other goal, the open rate, we did not reach. We wanted to get to 50%, and we realized that is not possible, because if you are scaling, if you're growing that much, and if you have different newsletters, you have RSS feeds and you have newsletters written by the editor-in-chief, they are so different that you really can't say, oh, just let's raise the open rate from 41 to 50%. We actually got better. I think we came in the end, we are at 47, something like this. But it was a good learning. So if in the future we want to look at each newsletter format for its own, and we want to establish goals for each of those singular ones, we don't want to make a big goal anymore. So this is some of the math behind newsletter, and there's a lot of thanks to Dan Oshinsky who did some of that. So our newsletter referrals generate 44% more page sessions per session than social referrals. The session duration of a newsletter referral is 160% longer than that of Google referrals. We saw that our conversion rate is quite interesting. 4 to 6% of our newsletter subscribers convert to subscriptions after 5 months. So again, you need time. Don't ask for the results in the first 4 months. It takes a little bit longer, but after 5 months, you can see that the newsletter subscribers convert to subscriptions. We also see that newsletter subscribers, the paid content subscribers that have one newsletter, they stick longer to the subscription, 40 to 60% on average. And if they have more than one newsletter, the retention is better by 40 to 70%. And then in the end, Dan Oshinsky took all the numbers that I published, or that some of us that we published somewhere, and he made a calculation. I'm not saying that this calculation is right. Actually, it's not perfectly right. But just to get some of the idea, he calculated how many are converting, how long do they stick, how much do they pay per month if they convert to the paid content subscription, and he came up with 2.3 million in revenue after 3 years. So that's not exactly the numbers that we are talking about, but it's a quite good calculation, and it just makes clear that newsletter is a very strong instrument. I'm talking too long, so just look at this, and I will not go into detail with this, but the message is just stay flexible, give your people a big North Star, look into the details, bounce rates, data protection, AMP forms, look in areas, little detail, be obsessed about data, be obsessed about all the numbers, communicate respectful, honor your editors, because it's really about the content. And well, then you might be successful.
Ruth, thank you. This
was
awesome. This was really super awesome. Thank you for this.